Structural health when it comes to knee pain. While each of my patient cases, stories are individual, every single person is different in their structural makeup, in their genetic makeup, in their history of injuries and traumas. There are things and components that are similar from patient to patient. And then it becomes the concept of pattern recognition. Here's what I notice in my patients with knee pain. I've got a new high school kiddo, basketball player, great athlete, knee pain. And current treatment is dry needling. Dry needling to the knees, dry needling to the knees, dry needling to the knees. Yes, you've got some swelling. Let's address the swelling. Dry needling to the knees, some strengthening exercises. Still struggling with knee pain. So as we look at that big picture, what's driving the swelling in the first place? Looking at the whole person from head to toe, the most important thing that we need to look at in every single person, whether it is back pain or plantar fasciitis or knee pain or even shoulder pain, we have to look at gait in all of that, is we watch how somebody walks. And the way somebody walks tells us very quickly how much shock is occurring. So we should have healthy shock absorption when our foot hits the ground in the efficient state. How much shock is happening through the leg each time they hit the ground, whether they're walking or running. How those forces are going through the leg as that foot hits the ground. Also, it shows us any rotational forces or compensations as the foot hits the ground and then you push off and the other leg goes forward. So it shows us a lot about what's happening to those knees during walking. We then break that down into looking at squats. How well are we squatting? And I can tell this kid, he's done a lot of PT because the squats were pretty good. But on a micro level, we had significant compressive forces at one knee joint more than the other. So it's complex, but it's not complicated. But it's not as simple as just here's inflammation, let's make the inflammation go away. Here's pain, let's make the pain go away. We have to take a step back, look at the big picture of the organism and movement through space, and unpack why. Why is there compression forces there? Why are we having swelling there? So as we go through the whole system, we identified how there's been a fall to the tailbone, there's been significant injuries to the clavicle and the shoulder. Our kids sit all day long, so we're tight through our upper bodies, upper backs. Fell and knocked the wind out of himself, so we've got a lot of restriction through the chest. And when we have areas in the body that don't move well, the body will find another place for more movement. So that there has created increased strain on the low back. Guess what? He also has back pain. No surprise, no surprise. So the back pain is not driving the knee pain, but the back pain is showing up kind of like the knee pain is. Here's these increased strains that are compensatory for other things, but it's too much strain on that joint. It's too much pressure on that joint. Too much force on that low back. So as we work our way down, actually his feet ankles weren't that bad. Often I'll see ankle sprains that drive that knee, but for him it was mostly that pelvis. So as we get into the pelvis mechanics as he walks, pelvis mechanics as he goes in and out of squat, the tightness that shows up through the front of the pelvis and the quad. So when somebody loses healthy, efficient mechanics at the pelvis and they're walking through space, the body's brilliant, it finds a way to keep you going. So then the body tends to drive with the legs. And so those quads get overused and tight. Those hip flexors get tight. We're sitting all day long. So we've lost that ability for the leg to get behind us. So all of these pieces come together, resulting in increased lines of pressure, inefficient, increased lines of tension and compensations that we need to unpack, we need to reduce these excessive lines of tension, strain patterns on these areas in order for them to not get swollen, in order for those tissues to not be subject to so much strain, because they don't like that, and that also is what contributes to degeneration over time. So looking at the big picture is important. It's critical, and we need to start to convey this to patients and practitioners and other PTs, so we can start to look at the person as a whole, as it was designed to be.